Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the retro shooter light guns for the Pandora box. This is a light gun system that's designed to work with modern HD televisions, and you may have noticed that I have two boxes here. That's because the original version they've been selling for a while now, but the people who make this also sent me a new version of it with a bunch of enhancements. And to help me out with this video, of course I'm going to reach out to my buddy Drunken Master Paul. And also my good friend Scott. They are both massive light gun fans. We've been messing around with this for a couple weeks now, and there's a lot of things I like, but there's also some things that could still use a little bit of work. Let's take a look. We're going to start with a quick unboxing because depending on the package that you buy, there is a lot that comes with this. The version that we're showing here is called the Gold package, which basically runs for about $350, although it often goes on sale for as little as $230. So you're going to want to shop around depending on, what you want to include in this. But on the top layer here, you see the two guns, the orange and the blue, and notice that they are disassembled, and they do that for a couple reasons. The primary one being is that depending on the country that you live in, sometimes it's hard to get these type of guns through customs, and so they mail them to you disassembled. They're very easy to configure though. And notice that this comes with two LED IR sensors that you attach to your television. However, that's part of the upgrade though. So you'll notice that when we open the second box, we have more IR sensors to basically make it more sensitive and more accurate. So just be aware they don't sell the 2-sensor version of this anymore. Every option that you get now comes with 4. There's also these little lenses that you can attach to the front of the gun because that will affect the camera and basically the accuracy depending on how close you are to your television. The second layer is where things get interesting. You'll see that you have 2-foot pedals, so that's very handy for light gun games like, say, Time Crisis. You'll notice that this Gold package comes with controllers, and that's because this unit comes with 5,000 games on it. Not all of them are light gun games, so it actually comes with some PlayStation 2 style controllers as well as some NES style controllers. What's cool is that this comes with something called a Firebase, which I believe is basically just a USB hub, but it's designed to work with your PC, so you don't have to use the unit that this comes with. If you prefer to use these guns with your PC, let's say your stand-up MAME arcade cab, that's how you would do it. It comes with all the cables that you would need, including the power brick. There's a screwdriver so you can put the guns together, and there is the Pandora box itself. That's a standalone console that has 5,000 pre-installed games on it, everything from consoles to MAME arcade ROMs. And so that's everything that comes with the Gold package. However, like I mentioned, they also sent a second box with a bunch of upgraded parts. In here are upgraded versions of both guns, as well as additional IR sensors for your television, as well as a new version of the Pandora box console to take advantage of some of these upgrades. Again, you are probably not going to have to worry about this if you go and buy this unit. I just want to make sure that people understand that if you've seen reviews of this product before, I'm reviewing a newer version of it. And so that's what all of this stuff is right here. So what's different about the guns? Well, basically, they got a bunch of feedback from customers when it comes to the recoil. See, the recoil is fairly powerful, and depending on the game, really hammers that light gun, right? It's sitting there and it's just basically rattling that thing for hours on end. And so what they found was that they needed to upgrade that and make it a little bit more stable, a little bit more resilient, essentially, to, weeks, months, potentially years of abuse. And so the new one should potentially last a lot longer. And you can see here that putting these together with those little screws is really easy. Again, it's nice that they include a screwdriver in there. There's basically, a couple screws for each one of them. It only takes a couple seconds. The next thing you need to do is attach the LEDs to your television, and you basically just have 4 of them, 1 for each corner. And then the way that they work is they get the power from the USB port. Now, I'm sure your television's like mine where it has additional USB ports built into it. That's exactly what I did, is I basically just, attach the different IR sensors to each corner and then plug them into a free USB port on the television itself. You push the little button on the top and essentially you're good to go. Plugging the guns into the Pandora box is pretty simple. Basically, it gets its power from its USB ports, but then you also have that additional cable there for the recoil. Now, what's interesting about that is that if you don't want the recoil to be on because it is loud, it is noisy, maybe you're trying to play at night and you don't want to annoy your family, all you have to do is just really unplug that. But it supports 2 light guns with the recoil and also the foot pedals right out of the box. It does look a little bit like a big octopus of wires when it's all configured and set up, but honestly, I think you're just gonna have to deal with that because I don't know any way around it. And honestly, the unit itself isn't that big, and so it's not a big deal, but yeah, just be aware it's a lot of wires kind of going everywhere. Now, there is something kind of weird about this, that when you first fire up the Pandora box, there isn't any obvious way to get into settings, and I was stumped for a while. That's because, for whatever reason, it's actually a hole in the bottom of the console itself. So you jam the screwdriver in there, and that's what launches setup, or settings, I guess. It's pretty weird, and they know that's kind of odd for a lot of people. It's not exactly intuitive, so they did tell me that in the future, they're gonna have an option built into the menu. They just don't have it right now, but just be aware if you buy one today, yeah, that's how you go into settings. That's how you configure the light gun. The way that this thing works is that there is a camera built onto the tip of the gun that is looking for those 4 IR sensors on the corners of your television at all times. And so it's possible that if you have a large television, you could be sitting too close to it for the camera to actually see all 4 corners. That's why we found when using this, we got a little bit better performance out of it and a little bit more accuracy if we were actually standing away from the television. That's why we're actually behind my chairs, essentially, because that seemed like it was probably the best location for this. Not a big deal, I just want to let you know that's why we're doing it. And it's my understanding that essentially what it's doing here is acting like a mouse. So you can see this if you turn on the targeting. Essentially, as you move the gun around, you can kind of see it dragging the mouse a little bit. That's how it feels. And initially, Paul was pretty disappointed in this because his expectation was it was going to be exactly like being in the arcades or playing on an old school CRT. And that is simply just not the case with this. There is definitely a little bit of a lag going on here. It's not 100% accurate all the time. He found it kind of frustrating, where I didn't really think it was that bad, to be honest with you, but I've messed around with these devices before and I thought this was okay. When Scott came over, he actually really liked it because he hadn't played a light gun game in years. It was probably since the last time he was at an actual arcade. For him, it was really fun to kind of just jump in and have 95% of that arcade experience at home, in the game room. So he had a huge smile on his face the whole time. And so that's the bottom line here, I think, is that, if you are going for 99% or 100% accuracy, this is not going to be for you. This is not going to be reference quality here. It's I would say it's 90 to 95% of what you would expect. Is there some latency? Yes. Is it 100% accurate? No, it's not. But honestly, if I had to set up at my house and we had a party with a mixed crowd of people, both hardcore gamers and not, I think this would get used all night long. I mean, again, it's really easy. You don't have to use a keyboard or mouse. You can buy all the light gun games. You could actually play normal console games as well with it. It's just really easy to use. And so I think you need to set your expectations accordingly. Like if you get this around for $250, maybe $300, comes with 2 light guns, plus, all those games, I think there's a lot of fun to be had here. Also, I've been told, and I haven't really tried it yet, but you can get rid of a lot of that latency if you actually just use a really powerful computer. So that's the next step I think I'm going to try, is plugging it into my stand-up MAME arcade cabinet and have all that extra horsepower and see if you get a little bit better performance out of it. So anyways, guys, that is a review of the retro shooter for the Pandora box. And I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to my buddy Drunken Master Paul and also Scott. It's funny because all I have to do is just text them and be like, hey, do you want to come over and play some light gun games and help me shoot this video? And they're like, yeah. So we had a great time, as you can see here. We were having a lot of fun. Plus, I just love the fact that companies out there are keeping light gun games alive. You know what I mean? I love these in the arcades, and I'm so glad that there's these solutions out there for playing them in your house. But I would love to know what you think. Do you have a light gun solution in your house? Maybe you are still rocking an old school CRT. And let me know what you think is probably the best light gun game ever made. Oh man, for me, it's probably gotta be Time Crisis 2, but I am a sucker for Area 51 as well. But there have been so many good ones, right? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. And as always, guys, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.